morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I need to bring you the first ever Zigzagoon card that we've ever seen. Now, that's a little bit of a lie, right? I'll be honest with you. Of course, the first Zigzagoon card that we ever saw came around a little while ago. And anyone know which one? It was in EX Ruby and Sapphire and had rather adorable artwork. We've had a few Zigzagoons over the years, 6 if you want to be pedantic. Although to be fair, Zigzagoon we haven't had since Primal Clash. It's been a little while. Well, the thing is, this isn't your ordinary everyday Zigzagoon. This is the first ever Galarian Zigzagoon we've ever had, and oh my goodness, that ability should look extremely familiar to anyone that's played the game in a very long time. Now, if we start off with the basics here, we got 70 HP, which is on the higher end for evolving basics, gives you a bit more survivability, but does mean cannot be searched out with Professor Elm's lecture. I'll let you decide whether you're happy about that or not. Retreat cost of 1 is lovely because U-turn board gives free retreat. Weakness to grass is a new one. Yeah, we're going to do an updated weakness and resistance thing, but darkness Pokemon used to be weak to fighting. Like, they've been weak to fighting forever. Like, they came around in Neo Genesis, and back in Neo Genesis, well, to be fair, Sneasel didn't have any weakness, right? But when Sneasel got a weakness in Aquapolis, it was fighting, and it's been fighting ever since. The fact that darkness Pokemon are now weak to grass is a huge deal. Like, this is a really gigantically big change. It's also a significantly better weakness, right? Because, I mean, if I'm honest with you, what grass Pokemon are good right now? Now, I will say that Pheromosa and Boswell has seen a bit of play here and there, and to be fair, you're having 70 HP means their first attack will not get a one-hit KO, Jet Punch will do 60, but generally speaking, fighting has been better than grass lately, so it's a pretty nice weakness to have. You should be happy about the weakness. Cool. It is weird though, right? Darkness Pokemon weak to grass. I can't be the only one weirded out. They've also lost their resistance to Psychic. I showed you the very first ever Sneasel from Neo Genesis a moment ago. That had a resistance to Psychic. They've had a resistance to Psychic literally since they came into the game. That's gone away. Weakness and resistance are really being switched up in Sword and Shield, and Darkness is one of the biggest examples. Okay, so with all of that borne in mind, oh, you're also a Darkness Pokemon. It means you can use something like Black Market Prism Star, so you give up fewer prizes. That's kind of cool. It means you're hitting weakness against stuff like Giratina, so that's kind of cool. But really here, we're all about the ability. And the ability says that once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to the bench, you may put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Yes, Crobat G. It is literally Crobat G. Now, I don't know how many of you were playing back in the SP era, but if you were, you will know that Crobat G was absolutely huge. Like, flat out, over the top, no question, just absolutely everywhere. It was played in so many decks. Now, Crobat G had a lot of things going for it, right? It had a resistance to fighting, which was really good. 80 HP, which was pretty good for a basic. It's a stage 2, but all the SPs were basic, so it was a basic. The free retreat was pretty gosh darn huge, and it had a decent attack that poisoned your opponent's Pokemon and put 2 damage counters on them between turns, rather than 1. Crobat G is literally the reason I played Ruins of Alph in my Donphan Prime deck, because so many people, when I put an expert bout on Donphan, I could hit 80 damage for a single energy. So everyone would just put up Crobat because of the resistance, and then I'd play Ruins of Alph to get rid of it, and I got so many easy KOs that way. But this was a phenomenal card that saw a huge amount of play. And the point of this ability, very neatly, is just to put people in range. You play it down to bring your opponent's Pokemon into range to then go and get KO'd. It's that extra 10 damage that we need so much. An example I've used in a bunch of videos lately is Reshiram and Charizard coming up against a Pikachu and Zekrom. They should be 10 damage short, but you play down one of these, do the damage, and then come in and get a nice, easy one-hit KO. It's not really a one-hit KO, because of course you got to drop the damage and then attack them, but it's near as darn it a one-hit KO. But then again, just yesterday I showed you Vitality Band, a new Pokemon tool that lets the Pokemon to which it is attached do an extra 10 damage. So what's the difference between this and Vitality Band? And the answer is there are many, many differences. First of all, this can just be searched out much more easily. I've shown you Quick Ball lately, which lets you search for a basic Pokemon if you discard a card from your hand. It will search out your Zigzagoon so you can play it. It's very hard to search out Pokemon tools. Although, to be fair, Guzma and Hala is a thing now, and actually Guzma and Hala does make it easier to search out Pokemon tools than it has been for a while. And to be fair, we've also got Adventure Bag, but when I say it's easier to search out, I mean in the majority of decks you're going to be playing Quick Ball anyway, whereas Guzma and Hala and Adventure Bag, you've actually got to make a point of playing them. It's not that you won't be playing them, it's that every deck basically is going to play Quick Ball. Not every deck's going to play Guzma and Hala. Zigzagoon also takes up a space on your bench, which can be pretty big because it means that you've got one less bench space to do what you will with. And it's a basic Pokemon, so you can start with it. Your free retreating Crobat didn't really care, and I know one retreat cost is low for Zigzagoon, but it still does have a retreat cost. You've still got to make an effort to get it out of the active. You might not always be able to do so. And the other thing we've got to mention about Crobat G, and this is a huge point, we had Poker Turn. Poker Turn was absolutely one of the reasons this was so good. Poker Turn was basically a super scoop up where you didn't need to flip a heads, you just got to pick a Pokemon up, but it had to be a Pokemon SP, like Crobat G. And you could do this again and again. So what you would essentially do is play down Crobat, pick it up, play it down, pick it up, play it down, and do 20-30 damage just cheekily. You could find your opponent playing something like a 30 HP Cleffa, and literally just KO it using Crobat G without having to ever muck about with any kind of attacking malarkey. And we don't have that right now. We do have Super Scoop Up, and Super Scoop Up turns into a flip a coin if heads do 10 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's not bad. I mean, to be fair, we did have that card in the past. It was Poker Blower Plus. Poker Blower Plus, if you played one, it was flip a coin if heads put one damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. But if you played two, then it was basically just a gusting effect. You grabbed one of your opponent's Pokemon and dragged it into the active. So the point is, this is a really good ability, and I don't think there's much of an argument against this. The ability here is phenomenal, and I don't think there's any real argument there. It's always been good. Crobat G was phenomenal, this is phenomenal. The question is it as easy to use as Crobat G? You've lost Poker Turn, we've lost the free retreat. And they're two pretty big deals. I mean, I played one copy of Crobat in my Donphan deck, and I didn't play Poker Turn or any of that. But the fact that I had free retreat and could retreat it if I started with it was good. The fact that in that deck I didn't need many bench spaces, I really could pretty much go the whole game with like 3 or 4 bench spaces, was good. And I'm not sure if this Zigzagoon isn't just coming into a different format where it's not going to be so easy. The fact that HPs were lower back then also made a huge difference. I mean, the big Pokemon back then, you had stuff like Gyarados and Machamp with 130 HP. And then you had stuff like Luxray and Garchomp that came in with 110 HP. Whereas now we're looking at 270 HP. So because HP is so much higher than it used to be, there is a big argument that it's nowhere near as good because the amount of damage you're doing proportionately is just so much lower. The fact of the matter is, one day someone's going to make a deck with this that's completely broken. Because it's damage outside of an attack. Doing damage outside of an attack is extremely difficult. And we've already got the combination of Roxy with your coughing and your wheezing, which can already do some of this. And now we're adding in this. It just seems like sooner or later, someone's going to put this all together into a very, very broken deck. As it is, it sounds like one damage counter, and we really don't know where this is going to fall. It could be like Crobat, where it's played in basically every deck, so that you can go and get those key KOs. Or we might just go, you know what, HPs are too high, we don't have any good way to keep picking it up and putting it down again, and we'll just all play Vitality Band. Although do keep a lookout, right, because if we have an easy way to pick up Pokemon in the near future, this will become approximately 1 billion times better. Oh, there is an attack here, but it sucks. It's like 30 damage, but it fails if you flip tails. Don't even worry about it, it's not good. This is for the ability. It is all about the ability. And it's a very nice one indeed. I'm going to tentatively give this 4 Wassies, but honestly, this could go down to like a 3 Wassie card because it's an occasional tech, or it could go up to a 5 Wassie card as a staple. So let's sit in the middle and say 4 Wassies. But I'd like to know what you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.